Hello, Vikings fans. Welcome to channel Skol Nation Vikings Daily, your go-to source for news on the Minnesota Vikings. Today, we've got some exciting updates from the post-off-season program, and you won't want to miss this as we delve into the biggest questions surrounding the Vikings' 53-man roster projection. Stay tuned, because there's a lot to unpack, and we'll reveal some surprising details along the way. Let's kick things off with the quarterback situation. As it stands, Sam Darnold is set to start, backed up by J.J. McCarthy and Nick Mullins. The big question here is whether the Vikings will keep three quarterbacks on the roster. McCarthy's performance could be the key. If he proves ready to step in if needed, the team might not need Mullins. But if Kevin O'Connell feels McCarthy isn't quite there yet, Mullins' experience will be invaluable. And here's a thought. Could there be a surprise twist in the QB lineup as we move closer to the season? We'll keep you updated on this intriguing development. Moving on to the running backs, Aaron Jones leads the pack with Ty Chandler, Kene Nwangwu, and C.J. Ham as depth options. Jones's injury history means depth is crucial, but will Myles Gaskin or DeWayne McBride make the cut? Unless one of them stands out during training camp, Chandler and Nwangwu seem to be the likely backups. This will be an interesting competition to watch as camp progresses. And just imagine if an unexpected star emerges from this group. Stay tuned to find out who it might be. Wide receivers are another area of intrigue. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Brandon Powell are set as starters, with Jalen Nailor and Tristan Jackson providing depth. The main question, will the Vikings keep 5 or 6 receivers? Jalen Nailor has had a strong offseason, but the battle for the final spot is fierce with veterans like Trent Sherfield and promising newcomers like Malik Knowles and Jashawn Jones in the mix. Could there be a dark horse candidate that shocks everyone and secures a spot on the roster? We'll be watching closely. At tight end, with T.J. Hawkinson likely starting the season on IR, Robert Tonyan, Johnny Munt, and Josh Oliver are in line to fill the gap. Nick Muse and N'Keal Harry will be pushing for a spot as well. Tonyan has had an impressive offseason, making him a favorite, but the real question is whether the Vikings will carry 4 tight ends or opt for a different configuration. This will be one to watch as we approach Week 1. And keep an eye out. There could be a surprise addition that changes the dynamics entirely. On the offensive line, the starters are set with Christian Darrisaw, Blake Brandel, Garrett Bradbury, Ed Ingram, and Brian O'Neill. The depth includes David Quessenberry, Dan Feeney, Dalton Reisner, and Walter Rouse. The main question here is whether Michael Juergens can make a case for himself. The competition for the starting left guard position and the flexibility of Feeney and Reisner are key points to keep an eye on. Will there be an unexpected shakeup in the lineup? Only time will tell. Defensively, the tackle positions see Harrison Phillips and Jerry Tillery as starters, with Jonathan Bullard, James Lynch, and Levi Drake Rodriguez providing depth. Can Jacqueline Roy or Jonah Williams push Lynch or Rodriguez for a spot? Lynch's return from an ACL injury and Roy's promising start last year make this a position battle worth watching. Imagine the impact if one of these players steps up and surprises everyone during training camp. The outside linebacker unit looks strong with Jonathan Greenard, Dallas Turner, and Andrew Van Ginkel as starters. The depth, however, is less certain. Andre Carter II and Pat Jones II need to prove they can handle the workload. Keep an eye on UDFA Gabriel Murphy, who might make a significant impact during camp. Could Murphy be the breakout star that changes the game for the Vikings? Stay tuned for more updates. Inside linebackers have Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace Jr. leading, with Kamu Grugier-Hill, Brian Asamoah, and Abraham Beauplan in support. The big question here is whether a UDFA can emerge and if Asamoah will secure his spot. With names like KJ Cloyd and Dallas Gant vying for positions, this will be an interesting area to follow. And don't be surprised if a new face comes out of nowhere to claim a spot on the roster. Cornerbacks see Shaq Griffin, Makey Blackman, and Byron Murphy Jr. as the top trio, backed by a Caleb Evans, Kyrie Jackson, and Najee Thompson. The question is whether Booth Jr. will stick around or if an underdog will unseat him. Special teams ace Josh Metellus and versatile Jay Ward might also play roles in the secondary, adding depth and flexibility. Will there be a Cinderella story among the cornerbacks? Keep watching to find out. At safety, veterans Harrison Smith and Cam Bynum are joined by Josh Metellus, with Theo Jackson and Jay Ward providing depth. The lingering question is whether Louis Cini can prove himself worthy of another chance. Ward's special teams contributions could tip the scales in his favor. And there's always the possibility of a last-minute surprise that changes the safety lineup entirely. Finally, the specialists are set with Will Reichert as the kicker, Ryan Wright as the punter, and Andrew DePaula as the long snapper. Competitions for these spots are always intense, so expect some interesting developments here. Could there be a newcomer who unexpectedly excels in this area? Only time will reveal the final lineup. That wraps up our in-depth look at the Vikings' 53-man roster projection. What are your thoughts on these potential battles? Who do you think will surprise us in training camp? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Skol Nation Vikings Daily for more updates and in-depth analysis. Thank you for tuning in, Go Vikings!